Welcome back. Well, our conversation tonight talking about the Central Management Committee of the ODM Party giving party leader Oburu Oginga the green light to officially start negotiations with President William Ruto's UDA ahead of the 2027 general election. This is part of the discussion tonight, of course, talking about ODM Wrangles. Before we took a break, Benji, you were talking about the history. We were looking at the identity of ODM. With this new development today, the green light given to the party leader, away from the conversation on identity, the question is at this point, Bosco, what does this arrangement mean for the politics of the day in Kenya? Before you go to Bosco, can I underscore something and swing it over to him? Go ahead. When you talk about identity, one of the big mistakes that ODM made, because, you know, there are students watching this show, I get a lot of feedback on social media. One of the unfortunate mistakes ODM made, and ODM has made many mistakes over the years. One of the biggest mistakes happened in 2022. And what happened is, in 2022, the incumbent president, and I hope Fanyamambo is following what I'm saying very carefully because he's a very serious opposition strategist. The incumbent president, Uhuru Kenyatta, purported or actually chaired the coalition to succeed him that was fronting ODM as a candidate. And I want you to understand my point very clearly. So the sitting president was the chairman of Azimio. I think that's what it was called, Azimio Coalition, all right? And so what he purported to do was to hand over power to the ODM party leader, who was the leader of that coalition, with the then sitting president chairing it. Now, what happened is, ODM then forgot its identity, what it stood for, what it had talked about, its history and its stripes, etc. And so people like Judet Mohammed were making it publicly very obvious that yes, we have always stood for democracy, expansion of democratic space, and electoral integrity. But now that we are in government and the president is our chairman, we will do whatever it takes, even if it means rigging out the other candidate, which was the deputy president, William Ruto. Now, this was a very big mistake, but it's exactly what happened in broad daylight, and Raila didn't really have a problem with it. This is why I was talking about ideology, because when now the end justifies the means, Leah, that's how you lose whatever you stand for, and actually you can leave your supporters and your members. You know, supporters, they're also people that give you money, all right? You can leave them very confused and really not sure what the difference then would do, because you then don't even stand any moral ground and don't have any moral credibility to condemn corruption. Prior to that, ODM had been forefront condemning Uhuru on Eurobond, on the expressway, on SGR projects, on many, many, many projects. But at the point now when they're saying, we will do anything to make sure we put Raila in, I mean, that includes killing even. And the other person, ni mtu hata hana meno, etc., etc. You know, the beautiful thing with the media is you have all the clips that I'm talking about and all the data. Then you are very compromised. And sometimes politicians play the short game, but if they look at the long game, the consequences are what you're seeing today. Thank you. Bosco, this country is already dealing with a lot. You've had Kenyans talking about how the economy is not doing very well. Fanyamambo talking about matters education earlier on, and basically saying this idea of the broad-based arrangement is not what Kenyans want to hear at this time. But yet the conversation still proceeds. Talk about ODM at this time. ODM has been known to be a formidable force when it comes to being in the opposition, speaking into key issues that the country is faced with. We've talked about the identity, but let's talk about the survival of ODM. If this development is anything to go by, the party leader being given a green light to go ahead and start negotiations with the President William Ruto's UDA party, what does that mean for ODM survival and relevance, especially when it comes to grassroots politics? Some people, of course, some of the leaders within the party feeling that
ODM is likely to become a junior appendage for its grassroots machinery and used to help Ruto in his election bid. And of course, we've had Siaya Governor James Orengo in the past, not too long ago, saying that, ODM risks dying like other liberation movements in Africa. And that means ODM has had a place in this country where it's been able to question some of the decisions of the government of the day. What do you feel this arrangement means for some of these key issues I've highlighted to you?
Thank you for this question. I want to say politics is about calculations, is about your strategy. And post Raila Odinga's death, Orange Democratic Movement is what we would call a low-lying fruit. And if the opposition was keen and was faster, would have grasped ODM before William Ruto did. And ODM is up for grabs even now. But look at what is happening. The Sifunas, the Babu Owino, the Kamisi, the Kale Kamisi, and the rebels in ODM, they are popular for just opposing William Ruto. You mention anything against William Ruto, you become popular in ODM. Release them from the ODM. Tell them go to vie in Nyanza. Tell them go to vie in Western. Tell Sifuna to go and vie a position in Western. He will perform badly, I can tell you. Sifuna, Babu Owino, and the likes are elites here in Nairobi. They are very popular here in Nairobi. But it will dawn on them the day they will leave ODM and try to vie in another political party. Because understandably, Babu Owino may not want to be in a broad-based arrangement for the sake of, if he wants to run for governor, he will be in the same side with Sakaja, so to speak. So that is why he is cleverly fighting within ODM. But if I was asked, if they stayed within ODM and a broad-based government, they could still stand a better chance of gaining their positions in Nairobi. For Sifuna, for example, if Sifuna is within ODM and he plays ball, still retains his position as the SG of ODM, and still continues to speak as he speaks, and he vies in 2017, he will look relevant. But tell Babu Owino to go in Meru, to go in Kambani, try to pull a crowd, they will have difficulties. Having said that, when I said the orange is a low-lying fruit, it is because if the current disunited opposition, they are called opposition, but we have seen them fragmented. We have Kalonzo on one end, Matiang'i on the other end. Most of these opposition leaders may not have the capacity to pull a presidential campaign team or strategy. Kalonzo is a very good diplomat. He's a very, presents himself a polite and all these good leader. But does he have capacity to win against William Ruto?
In track record.
So give me my time to speak. We even donated you time, so relax. You might split it with Panyamambo. What I'm saying is, when it comes to 2027, if I was in the opposition, I would be eager and hungry for power than they look. All over the world, it is the work of the opposition to whip people, to get voters, to get new voter registered members. IEBC has a forecast of 6.3 million. How many numbers has the opposition brought today? So what I'm saying is the impact of ODM and its death or reinventing has a high impact in the 2027 elections. And I was explaining in this way. William Ruto has seen an opportunity that, as you rightly said, Gary, that ODM has a big following in this country, be it even in the regions of Nyanza, Nairobi, Coast, and some places it had in Ukambani. But that's another story with now Kalonzo. Kalonzo and all the other leaders in opposition, they take only one statement from William Ruto, go and make your road in Zaikuru, then he starts panicking all over. I think what is happening is, look at Matiang'i, for example, as a presidential candidate. He doesn't even have a political party. He's riding on Uhuru's political party. He's a deputy party leader. Any decision he has to make on behalf of Jubilee, he has to go out and call, can I sign this document? So look at Gachagua. Gachagua is really trying. And that's why maybe they could be riding previously with what he has been doing. But even Gachagua himself, he's having trouble in the mountain, which he has always been guarding. If elections were done last year, let's say in July, he could have been assured of 90, 80% positions in the mountain. Right now, it could be even at 30%. Look at what happened in Nyeri. We are having crowds. The place in Madeira, where he has always said, Asikanyange huku, the president should not come in this area. We have seen crowds, people there celebrating the president and the development he's bringing to the area, saying 2-term. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time that some political analysts even and politicians are arguing. Gachagua could even be asking for a handshake or could run to a handshake with the current government faster than any of the other opposition leaders. So, I mean...
Really?
That's what some people are
Benji,
saying.
your thoughts. Let's hear from Benji.
Yes.
I hear a lot of this stuff, Leah. I'll be very brief. But I don't know. I think the problem with, including those of us in the media, is the problem with our analysis sometimes, it reduces everything to a mere joke and a mere game. And personally, I don't believe in that because it devalues politics. You know how you always hear politicians saying, for example, and I hate to say this on air, they used to even use the word mganga. Then later you hear them say, ilikuwa tu siasa. It's wrong because again, all of this stems from lack of ideological formation, where anything and everything is now game. Because the same guys that Bosco is talking about, who are saying 2-term today, they'll also be saying 1-term tomorrow. And Gachagua has also, hurled a lot of expletives and invectives against the president. He has been extremely bitter and extremely divisive and even hateful. It's extremely premature then to foresee that such a person can go into a handshake. But why he's talking that way is because Raila and Uhuru made the president. Because you can see how they were really arch rivals from 2013. And then with time now they said, my young brother, the president, my brother, the president. All of this is really not helpful, especially for our young people. 70% of this country is 35 and under. You can just imagine how confused these kids even think that the political class is dumb. Because, to be honest, Gen Z, and why Gen Z was a big thing is because Gen Z actually believe that millennials and Gen Xers and baby boomers, which is their parents and their elders, are all of them dumb people. And so what they feel is the best solution is the entire political class to be in one boat and to sweep the entire boat to the sea. That has its roots in this kind of thinking. Thank you.
I'll start right where they stopped. First, voter registration. Who is heading IEBC? You can't bring Vasco da Gama ideas in 2026 and wonder why the young people are not registering as voters. Unajua kuna mtu alikuwa anaitwa Kivuitu, may he rest in peace. Unaenda kuregister kaa voter unapatiwa kakadi ka stupid, a very primitive voters card, ati hii ni voters card yako na ECK. 2026, very many years later, these people were born in 202. 202 to 2026, they are 24 years. IBC wanaenda wanakukalisha sana uregister upigwe kapicha upatiwe kadi kama hiyo ya Vasco da Gama. There's a problem. Our young people are opening bank accounts on their mobile phones. They are borrowing loans on their mobile phones. They are buying property. They even apply for American visas on the internet. But they are being told, for you to register as a voter, uende upange line Kawangware, and then you're asking why young people are not registering as voters. You have to remove this old thinking out of IEBC with akina ethicon sijua litolewa wapi and start bringing these young people into IEBC so that they can determine how voter registration will happen in this country. Otherwise, wewe unatuletea IEBC ideas za ECK, za Kivuitu, and then you are wondering why Gen Zs are not registered. They are not going to register. It's a very archaic and primitive method, and we need young people there. Number two, someone here, Bosco, guy, wewe unaishi mwaka gani? You're telling us that upeleke Babu na Sifuna, they are not going to pull crowds. My friend, we are in 2026. Now, let me wake you up from 1992, where our politician was measured by his ability to fill Kamukunji. Today, Sifuna says something. It has got 3 million likes on social media. Those are 3 million people who think like him. Fanyamambo does this TV show. Tomorrow morning, 500,000 people have liked my work. 33,000 have commented. There is over 40,000 shares. 40,000 people fill a stadium. So Fanyamambo is filling a stadium, not physically. These people have to go and work. Hawana upuzi ya kuja kukaa hapo wachomwe na jua. But they have rallied behind my idea. They believe in my idea. And they are proving they are even voting to show that they agree with my idea by liking.
I should speak.
Most of the time, when you hear people who are coming to shout for you in a crowd, hey, tutam, and they've been mobilized by William Ruto and you are happy about it. But a person who is ready to show their identity on TikTok and like your work, it tells you that that person is not an idiot or a moribund person who has been hired to do that. And that's why we are telling these people, be very careful. Munakuja ignore social media, munasema social media I vote. When I tell people that in 2024, there was no rally, there was no meeting, hakuna gari zilizunguka na speakers, but guess what? 190,000 of us used to meet on X Space. And the following morning, we used to be in demonstrations. Watu wanakuja na kuambia, social media. You continue gathering crowds and gathering dust, huku the primitive way of 1992. We will continue to meet on X Space and we will make moves. ODM, who wants ODM? By the way, you would be unwise to go and quote ODM, and I'll tell you this why on national TV. ODM, when it had Kalonzo supporting them, it had the whole of Western supporting them, it had the whole of Gusii Nyanza, and it had the whole of Coast. And then it got a sitting president, could still not get the presidency. Now Kalonzo is out, Western is out, Coast is out, okay? Uhuru Kenyatta, who was supporting ODM, is also not there. And then they are imagining that they will make William Ruto president in 2027. By the way, numbers are very stubborn. IEBC results, 2.1 million people are registered within the 4 counties, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, Siaya. When Baba, the man they loved the most, the man they would have killed themselves for, was on the ballot, only 1.6 million of them turned up to vote.
From Boston,
Half a million,
just challenged what
500,000 did not vote. Now there is William Ruto. He's not their son. They don't even like him. He abducted their Albert Ojwang. And now we are being told that sasa wataacha kutokelezea 1.6 million, which was about 62%, wafike 90%. I mean, anybody making their calculations with ODM in mind is lost. By the way, Mount Kenya mnaambiangwa ni mbaya hii. Ingia kwa simu yako juu unaweza sema yangu ni mbaya hata wewe. How many votes did Raila Amolo Odinga get in the whole of the central province? 1.1 million. I was going to say 1 point something.
So if
Raila, no wait,
we're running out of time.
If Raila Odinga got 1.1 million votes in that region, na hiyo ni hilo wamekunyima. Wakikunyima wanakupea 1.1.
The truth is, what Fanyamambo is doing is the work of the opposition team. They should be doing genuine oversight to IEBC. The figures he's telling us here and the things he's telling us about voter registration should be very vocally done by Gachagua, by Kalonzo, by everyone in opposition. So Fanyamambo is doing a very good job for them. They should increase his pay if he is paid.
I'm not paid.
And what I'm saying is, whatever we are saying is this. Fanyamambo is speaking very articulate, very passionately articulate and all that. Let me remind him, we are just from very north. For whatever reason he can tell you he was there. I was equally there for 3 weeks. These stories of Gachagua told the people of very north, kuleni pesa. So when you encourage people to do, I'm not saying it's good to have voter bribery. But when you encourage people to do voter bribery, to get the money, and when they eat it, they vote the other side, why are you complaining?
But who brought the money?
When you're telling us that we are not saying we ignore social media. Social media is a very vital thing in politics. But if Fanyamambo is going to vie in Dagoretti or wherever he's vying and expecting the following he's talking about to vote for him, sorry bro, you will have it very rough. Combine that social media with the grassroots. That's why we are saying, today William Ruto was in Nyeri. He did physically, humans, People you can see physically, not likes.
I guess
you know,
what Fanya Mambo is talking about, there has to be an evolution on how registration of voters is done in the country, because if then some of these services are accessible digitally, is there a possibility that in the country...
Perfect. But when they do social media and they lose an election, they should not come crying here, saying people are bribed.
Also more accessible.
So let people relax.
He's not understanding that. We use social media to bring young people together. But then the demonstrations,
by the way?
The demonstrations we did in 2024 did not happen in social media. The Fanya Mambo, you see, just go to my Facebook page. Kama jana nimeshinda ground, and my photos are there. All we are trying to say is that anybody coming to tell you that Sifuna will not pull crowds, we don't even expect him to pull crowds.
But
what we know is that wherever Sifuna goes and speaks, the country goes with him.
Let's hear your final remarks as we come to a close. I'll begin with you, Benji.
Thank you very much once again. And it is my hope that this year will be better than last year. As we go into the campaign season, I will very much would be happy to see a country or a leadership that exercises sobriety, objectivity, that we try to focus on the issues and on solutions. We have a debt problem in this country. We have a joblessness problem in this country. We have an economic disaster in this country where companies are fleeing, cost of doing business is too high, cost of production, cost of electricity. We were just talking about that before we came on set. Manufacturing is down. I mean, it's a fact. Wages are down and not growing. There's hope at the end of the day, and so it would be my desire that we get more into ideological politics and more principled politics. I think it's Mahatma Gandhi who's talked about politics without principle, you know, wealth without work, you know, just those kinds of things where you find a country, things are just not adding up. It really is something for us to, even us here in the media, to call, to take the right positions and to call upon the country to really yearn for and pursue good governance, you know, deliberate politics and credible elections. That would be my message in the new year, and just to wish you and the KTN team here, the beautiful people, a wonderful 2026. I hope it's really a good one for all of us. Thank you very much.
We hope so too. Let's hear from you, Bosco.
Thank you very much. As we conclude, moving into the future, this year is very promising. We started on a high note. One of the things that Kibaki fought was drug abuse and substance abuse. We cannot have a country, if it's going to Singapore, if it will get there, when people are drunk, when they cannot work. So it's a good thing. We started on a high note. Let's work this year. Let our institutions, the IEBC and all the other institutions, check on our politicians, starting from early warning signals, early warning signs like speeches. Let them be curbed as early as possible. That will prevent violence. That will prevent violence is violence. Whether it's from the opposition or from the government, it's violence. So I want to encourage our institutions to be more, to tighten their nose, especially the IEBC. Let the IEBC tighten the nose. Let the code of conduct be followed. Let our people, lastly, let our people vote the leaders they think will change this country. Because most of our problems are in that parliament.
And
so
because I've listened to you throughout the discussion, it feels like you're actually in support of the broad-based government.
Is it wrong?
Let him come clear.
I just tend to ask this question.
Let him come clear.
What's your support?
What is wrong with
based
supporting
on?
a broad-based
It's actually
government
not
of
wrong.
ODM and...
What I'm saying is,
yes.
what's your support based on? What's the highlight for you that makes you feel this particular arrangement will work for the country?
I live on a philosophy of positivism. So let's not complain about everything. The government might have its own shortcomings, but let's be positive this year. That's the only way. When we change our attitude as a country, as the people, we will end up voting the right leaders in the ballot. And that will change our debt ceiling, that will change our corruption, that will change everything about this country. And Singapore will be realized. By the way, I had regarding talking about Singapore is for the people, for the Luos. If the Luos be given Singapore, and in the process Kenyans get development, so be it.
He said they like good things.
If the fine things will come through making the Nyanzas vote, let Kenya grow as they are being wooed to come.
Briefly, your remarks, Fanyamambo.
Thank you. I think they've been telling us that the united opposition has got no agenda. We want to tell them that in no uncertain terms that we have an agenda. And our principal agenda is called Rudisha. Wameuza Kenya Power, tutarudisha. Wameuza Kenya Pipeline, rudisha. They've sold our airport, Rudisha. They've sold Safaricom, Rudisha. They've removed Linda Mama, Rudisha. The dignity of the payslip was taken away, Rudisha. From NHIF to SHA, to kichukua serikali, tunarudisha. From this thing that they call the university funding model, back to help Rudisha. So our agenda as the united oppositions, once we take government, the first thing to do is to return back the sanity that was there. You know, this thing of free primary education, Rudisha. Capitation for high schools, Rudisha. And of course, the only thing tutashindwa kurudisha ni maisha ya watoto wetu ambao waliua. We will never forget that this administration killed our children.
Thank you, Fanya Mambo. This has been an interesting discussion, and I'm really, really happy that you came on the show today. On my far right has been Bosco Kiora, who is a political and governance analyst. In the middle here, we have Benji Ndolo, who is a political analyst.
Senior political analyst.
Okay, senior political analyst. Yes. And we also have Fanya Mambo to my right, Fanya Mambo Kin Nuthia, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you for making time. It has been a pleasure. Tonight's discussion, of course, looking at ODM Wrangles and developments from earlier on today. Thank you for staying tuned. My name is Leangare. My sign language interpreter earlier on was Meresha Owiti. As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us throughout the entire bulletin to this moment. Have a good night. God bless you and take care. And dress warm tomorrow, perhaps, because the weather looks a bit light for the day. Have a good night.